Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I made my last video and life was just lifing, and here we are a few months later, and here's my next video. So it's not on the subject of my last Tana video, which was all about the pillars, pipelines, vaults method and how I utilize it in Tana. You can search my channel for that video. It's not continuing that series, but it is continuing how I use Tana. And one of the tools that I use in conjunction with Tana that is indispensable is Readwise and Readwise Reader. And so I wanted to do this short video to show how I manage my Readwise highlights in Tana. So the outline for today is I'm going to go through my Readwise export setup, show you my Readwise node exploration in Tana. I'm also going to demonstrate a few commands that I've built to help me integrate my setup with the highlights into how I use Tana for knowledge management. And to highlight the use of those commands, I'm going to show you my daily node setup and just some simple tasks that I do. So I hope you enjoy. I'd love to hear feedback from you guys in the comments on how, if you use Readwise and if you do use Tana as well, how you use them together. I'll probably turn this into a blog post as well at some point and leave the link below. So let's get started. I'm going to jump into my Readwise setup at the moment, and this is basically how my Readwise is set up. So to get to this point, you go to your Readwise account /export and then choose the Tana export and connect to Tana. And there's many other videos that show you how to do that. So this is not that. This is just showing you my setup. And I'm pretty sure that mine is as basic as it gets. I don't recall really tweaking the default. And if I did, probably thanks to Cortex Futura's video that first came out when the integration was released. So, it's very basic. The only information I take away from the page title of my highlights is just the title of the source, the highlight itself, the location, so that I can always link back to Readwise. I of course want my topics, and I also take out the notes if there's anything else. I'm not overly fussed with the other information. And then here are my fields that I copy over everything just to have the option of having it there. So as I said, very basic. You probably could get away with the default options provided by Readwise. So heading back to Tana. Right, so my Readwise node is governed by, the standard Readwise, the actual Readwise node that comes in. And it's a simple list. The only thing that I maybe did was to set up the view options, to have it as a list and to sort it by date descending, date created, date descending. So we have that created, date descending. And yeah, and it's basically the Readwise tag that is created for you. I think the only thing that I did that was a little bit different under field titles from field, I added the author. So I have the title field and the author field that would come in as the fields from Readwise, and I set them up so they can see the title and the author when I just look at a source. So that's just my personal preference. For highlights themselves, so if we open up the highlights pane, the individual highlights, I do something similar again. So you see where the topics come in. I didn't have any notes on this one. I have the location and the Readwise source. So this one, this tag is configured similarly to have its name So the actual name of the highlight, which is the content of the highlight source in italics, which is the highlight source that it came from. And that is basically it. So that gives me enough information when I look at the highlight to know where it came from. So here we have that. This is not on the highlights by default, but I will show you how they get there. So if you look here, for example, you'll see when a node first comes in from Readwise, it's going to have the highlights as a parent node, and then it's going to nest any other highlights beneath it. I didn't like that. I wanted to be able to see straight into the highlight itself when I opened the source. I really didn't want to have to click again. And time is less important to me, I guess, having them grouped under the highlights. So what I did, and this is going to segue into commands, is to build a command that would apply the actual formatting that you saw, where I had the title of the source embedded into the into the body of the highlight node. Well, not the body, but into the actual node itself. And the way that that is done is by this command called fix readwise indents and sources. And it's this same command here, which it says unindent readwise highlights. So this is the command for a single highlight, but if I want to fix them all that are under this parent source, I'd use this button. But this button, when I click it, it does just what it needed to do on the tin. So it basically took this highlight out of the parent, and now it's going to be a sibling of the highlight text, and it applied the highlight field. Sorry, it applied the highlight super tag again onto this highlight to make the source visible in the name of the highlight. My terminology might be all over the place, but I think you get what I mean. So yeah, so this command, if I open it so that you can see, right, so this runs the command on all children. Like I said, the context is this readwise node, which is everything that comes in from readwise, and it's going to run on that node. So the command itself is, as I said, this single command which runs on individual highlights. And what it does, it's going to hoist all the children, right? So anything that is titled highlights. So I'm looking for this word highlight, and then I'm going to hoist all of its children to the same level as it. So whereas this node was embedded as a child of the highlights node, command is just going to hoist it to the same level as its parent to become its sibling. And then it's going to reapply the highlight tag, and in reapplying the highlight tag, it allows it to gain some attributes such as the highlight source, and that keeps it fairly simple to do. So yeah, so that's the first command, basically to format the incoming highlights into a format that I want to see. And then so let's go back to our next topic. So that was showing you how I fix my readwise indents and sources. So the next thing is creating a readwise highlight search. So to understand this, I would go to, I'll show you one of my super tags. So let's say my PKM topic super tag is where I use all across my Tana workspace. Everything is tagged with a topic, and most of these topics correspond to the same topics in Readwise. And so when I bring something in from Readwise, I want to be able to search within these topics the actual, finding the actual highlights relevant to it. So let's demonstrate. So here I already have the search created. So let's see what the search itself does. And it is related Readwise highlights. And basically all it's going to do is search for anything that is a highlight and has like design in this case. So the topic is the exact name of this PKM topic. So it's going to search using regex or regex for any Readwise topics field, and that is attached to a highlight, right? So that's what that does. It doesn't come pre-populated. Maybe there's other ways of doing it. So let me delete this search just so you can see what I do. And when I come to a topic, so I don't auto run this. I kind of just, if I open a topic and the search isn't there, I'll just create it. So I'll do Command K, create Readwise highlight search, and it creates the search. And here we have it again. So basically, let's see what that search does. It's pure Tana paste. It's a Tana paste search that grabs the name of the PKM topic, so that's found in the name field, and then searches for anything that is a highlight and anything that is the Readwise field with the name of the node, the PKM node, as the argument, and I insert that as a child, and that's basically it. And that simple command allows me to do things like that. So if I pull up another topic, so let's do one motivation. Let's see if it will come up. There it is. So you'll see I have, again, Readwise highlights. Very simple search. So again, if it didn't exist, I just go here, Command K, create Readwise highlight search, and there it is. And because it's Tana paste, it's quite fast, and it does the job, does what it needs to do. All right, so that is how I create Readwise searches within topics. So then when I go to a topic, it is available and I can find any of my highlights that are relevant. And then the last thing, another command that I use is matching topics. So this is because the topic field that comes in from Readwise is not the same topics field that I use throughout my Tana workspace. I feel like I don't want everything to come in because it'll just clutter the field and trying to match the format from Readwise and, bringing it into the same. I just didn't want to deal with that and merging fields. It could be done with some workflow, but not mine. So what I decided to do is for particular highlights where I really want to introduce my personal PKM topics field, I want to be able to match the topics exactly. So this one is a little bit different in that it relies on a specific keyword. So matching what the Readwise topic or tag in Readwise is, and matching it to my PKM topic. So it's a little bit particular, and it's not really necessary because of this highlight search where I can search for tags, but for certain specific nodes that I kind of want to be visible in my related node search, so where things actually are tagged with a specific topic, for example, I really, they have that topic field there. This is a command, this match topics command is one that I use. And here is how it works. So if I go back to the Readwise node itself, and let's see if I have something with a topic. That one didn't have a topic. And that also didn't have a topic. clearly it was not. Let's see. Okay, here. So here we have some topics in this highlight. Yeah, so here we have a highlight with some topics. Perfect. And say now I want to link this back to my PKM topics that are in my Tana workspace. So I do have, I don't think I have a client service one. I do not. I do have entrepreneurship. So I want now at the end of this, I could, if I really wanted to, just add this field of topic and select entrepreneurship. I could do it manually. I don't want to do that. So what I do instead is run this command. It's called match topics. It's an AI command, so it might take a moment or two to run. And it's going to look through my list of tags. And if it finds one, it's going to use it. And if it doesn't, it's going to create it. So you see here now, all three of these are now linked. And this, again, is purely just because I want to have these specific topics linked specifically to highlights. Otherwise, it would work just fine using the previous command with the regex and Tana paste. So let's look into this command and see how it works. Okay, so I'm a little all over the place. This is a very off the cuff video. Right, so matching topics. So the very first thing is to see what this is doing. So this was my prompt workbench. The first thing I'm going to do is ask AI. And the prompt is based on how the PKM topics come in. So it says, I'll give you a list of topics separated with a pipe, and I want you to return a list of PKM topics to match. Right, and then I give it, which is crucial, a list of all my PKM topics. So this is a search node with all the topics that I have in my Tana workspace. And then I give it some examples. So if I did this coming into the field, these are what I wanted to come out. So for example, here there was no topic for history. So I gave it an example where it needed to tag history as a new instance of that super tag. And then this is the output. So then I give it the command and it goes on its merry way and returns a list. I had some trouble creating this prompt initially. GPT 3.5 was not the smartest, but it seemed to work well enough. But with GPT 4.0, it's brilliant. Like, it works so much better and it is very much faster. So that is basically the command, and it only works where the Readwise topic field is already existing. Otherwise, there's no point to it because it won't have any inputs. And yeah, so that's it. So that basically is how I would match a specific highlight to specific topics without having to manually do it. I just run this command and go my merry way. So finally, if we go back now to how I use these commands on a daily basis, what's my normal workflows in Tana. Let's go to my day node and let's see. So here I'll link back to the article which can explain, things I do on my day node. But let's go right here specifically to the Readwise highlights that I use. So here I have this Readwise field, which is configured to give me 2 random nodes from Readwise every day. And so every day I get these 2 nodes, and some of these are from ages ago. So when they come in, I'd read them. If I have any notes, I'd put a note about them here. So this note is talking about, safety and psychological safety. Being a part of a safe team is crucial to developing great work, right? And I'll just tag it as a synthesis note. Oops, as a note. And when I tag it as a note, it will inherit the topics of the highlight that's within it. And if this topic did not have any, if this highlight, sorry, did not have any topics attached to it, as you see here, then I obviously have to manually add them into it. So it takes a bit, some of these were before I had Tana, and it takes a little bit of discipline to really tag highlights in Reader or in in Reader, which is where I do most of my reading. So I kind of like having the opportunity to tag if I feel like in Reader, and then deal with the apportioning of categories in Tana, which is why I try to keep the two sets of tags and topics similar between the two programs. So I'd process the highlight like that. If I have any thoughts, I write it within the node, and it'll get its source, its highlight source, and it'll get its topic inherited. Let's see this other one here. So again, this didn't have a favorite, so this is from a book. Didn't have a topic. But similarly, I would just go in here, and if it speaks to me in any way, I'd write a note, and yeah, go from there. And that is basically how I pull up random highlights on the daily node. And then the other way that I deal with highlights is through my kind of exploration. So when I want to think about a topic, or I am looking for highlights, I can pull up a topic, and I'll just see all the highlights that have been tagged with it, but I'll also see any other nodes within my workspace. And having this in conjunction with seeing the highlights is pretty useful. So I could open this in a new panel, and then I could see these, I've got a library here basically of anything that I've taken notes on, or written, or just thought about that I could delve into. And that's pretty much how I use Reader. Not in my content creation era as yet, very much into absorbing information and trying to implement it, absorb it as I go, a little bit like change by osmosis as opposed to active. But I do enjoy curating these ideas, and this workflow really helps me do it in a very fluid and easy way. It's not overly complicated. There is some inefficiencies built into it. There's things I could probably iron out, but you know what, it works, and it's fairly robust. I don't think these particular features of Tana are going away, and even if something else comes up, these will still work. There's no real need for me to change it. And I think that's the message that I want to take away, that I want anyone to take away, is that you create these workflows in response to a need. So it was when when something feels like I just can't do this anymore, if you're committed to a tool, you either find a way to accept it or find a workflow within the limits of the tool to make it work. It feels almost limitless in Tana, the amount of things you can do. But even with that being said, constraining things into iterative building is my best advice. So I hope this video was interesting and you've learned something from it. Like I said, I'll probably turn it into a article slash newsletter at some point, and it will be linked below when I do that. And thank you for watching, and hopefully my next video will not be so many months away from the prior one. And with that, I look forward to any comments or questions. Thanks. Bye.